What is going on, traders? We got a lot to discuss in this video, but before we get into that, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So, heading into tomorrow, I'm sure you already know what I'm about to say. If you've been on this channel, then you know what I'm about to say. Mondays usually mirror Fridays, right? And if you're new to the channel, you don't know what that means. That simply means that usually what happens on Fridays happens on Mondays. We've been seeing this happen for like the past year or so, and so far it's been pretty spot on. And if you don't understand what that means, that simply means that when Fridays are bullish, Mondays are bullish. When Fridays are bearish, Mondays are bearish. And majority of Friday was pretty bullish, and then we had somewhat of a sell-off towards close. So a little iffy there. We could see the same thing tomorrow, where we just simply have a bullish move to the upside and then sell off towards close, or majority of the day is just consolidation because Mondays suck. So heading into tomorrow, I do think there is potential for a bounce here, but we will have to get deeper into that when we look at ETS. But as far as NQ goes, right now we're still holding above key levels. We're still holding above the supply and demand zone at around 19,000, 19,030, give or take. But our main key area here, main key supply and demand zone here is about 18,930, 18,980 range. Why? We rejected here, and even here, hopefully you guys can see this, but even here at this red candle, we pretty much came down here, bear stepped in, and then bulls immediately brought us back up, causing us to bounce off the supply and demand zone. So bulls are still strong within the market, at least from what we can tell here, right? So there is potential for a move back up. Now, if we do head back up, I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy heading into tomorrow. If anything, I imagine we just consolidate here until we at least get some type of news. But I will let you guys know this, right? If we're looking at the news, this week we have a lot of news actually. We have core CPI data, we have FOMC meeting, we have PPI data, we have unemployment claims. So we have a lot going on this week. And I will say this much. Despite this consolidation tomorrow, sometime this week I do think we're going to see somewhat of a sell-off. Now, I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. Well, I guess that depends on your perspective of what too crazy is. But at some point in time, I do think we're going to see a move back down here towards 18,770 range. All right, somewhere around this area before we see another leg up. And I imagine it's going to happen fast. And the only way that can happen fast, in my opinion, is when we get news. Why? Because this is a very illiquid area. And once we got out of this area, we pretty much never came back. So we never really retested this 18,770 range. So at some point in time, I do think we're going to head back down here. It's going to happen fast, and then bears probably get trapped, and then we head back to the upside. So overall, pretty bullish, but short term, I do think we're going to see some type of downside, maybe an overreaction in the market, and then bulls realize, or the market realize that, oh yeah, we just overreacted. Yep, try and pump it back up. All right, so that's my thoughts as far as potential downside this week. As far as upside goes, you just want to see us break back above previous highs at around this 19,160 level. I would say 19,200 to really be safe, and then at that point we're pretty much back in price discovery mode where we're trying to discover new highs. So that's my thought as far as the NQ. ES, you're looking at the same deal here. We do have a bearish engulfing candle right here as well. And again, I think at some point in time, we're going to head back down to this area at around 5,300, 5,315 range, give or take. So we see a move like this, market probably overreacts, or somebody convinces the market that we overreacted, and then we head back to the upside. All right, it could happen tomorrow. I'm not counting on it happening tomorrow. I'm really not counting on anything special happening tomorrow, but if it does, just be prepared for that move. And again, as far as upside goes, you just want to see us break back above previous highs. I would personally say, to be safe, you want to see a move back above, or not back above, but above 5,400, give or take, somewhere around that range, and then we're in price discovery mode. So I do think that this potential downwards move can happen this week, and it's basically like I said on the NASDAQ, very liquid area. Okay, we pretty much just broke out, and then we just continued up. And you're looking at the same thing here as far as like the NASDAQ goes, where bears stepped in, and then bulls immediately stepped back in, and we just bounced right back up, right? So bulls are pretty strong in this market. So the only way I think we can even further break down is news. Simple as that. Now I think that's I think that's a no-brainer. I don't think I had to tell you guys that much at least. If we're looking at the triple Qs, so triple Qs, again, it just looks like it wants to see a little bit of downside. So tomorrow we can open red. Okay, I do think tomorrow we're going to open at least red, maybe get a bear trap come in, and then we start to head up, or we just consolidate within this range where we just see a move back and forth over and over tomorrow. I mean, that's usually how Mondays go. Mondays usually don't give you much in the market. It's just a very boring day, or we just break further down. Okay, your key level here is 460, simple as that. And just like I told you guys on the NQ right here, very illiquid in this area, so at some point in time I do think NQ is going to want to visit 455. Okay, 455 is your key level here. At the 455 you can be heading as low as 452, 450 range. Okay, so be careful. Okay, be careful this week. Me personally, I'm not looking to trade much tomorrow. I just want to see how things play out. But I do think at some point in time we do have to retest this 455 level on the triple Qs. And the only way I think that's going to happen is if we get news. As far as upside goes, I still remain pretty bullish. I mean, overall bullish in the market. I told you guys my price target was 465. We pretty much hit that right on the dome. And after that, I'm looking at a move towards 470. If we do head lower, I've told you guys this in multiple videos. If we do head lower and head towards 455, that just simply creates more room for upside. And at that point, we're looking at targets as high as 480, even 500 on the triple Qs. But we'll see what happens once we get there. But if we do make this move, then that just leaves more room to the upside where we can start seeing way bigger moves to the upside, such as 475, 480, so on and so forth. So I told you guys my price target was originally 465 and 470. We didn't hit 470 yet. It's still on the table. 465 we hit, 460 we hit, but I do think at some point in time we're going to retest before we potentially see newer highs. All right, so be on the lookout for that as far as triple Qs. As far as upside goes, you want to see a move back above previous highs, 466, 467, give or take, to be really safe. And that's pretty much it. All I have for the triple Qs. Looking at the SPY. So SPY it did a little number here, okay? And this is why I think we're going to open up red, and it could lead to a bear trap. So right now we closed above 534 on the SPY Friday. So we could open up at around 531.5. Either we gap down or we just continue down in the morning towards this 531.5, 530 range. And if we just so happen to break even lower than that, which I'm not really counting on, but it is possible, okay? It is possible. Again, like I showed you guys on the triple Qs, very illiquid area. So we could start heading towards 428 range, 426, 427 range, okay? That was kind of mixed up. But you guys get the idea, right? So supply and demand zone is at around 526.8, 527. Me personally, I do think you're going to see turbulence at around 529. I don't have it exactly marked out, but as you guys can see here, rejection here, rejection here, rejection here. So this is a very important supply and demand zone at around 530. But I believe it was Friday and Thursday we did have a hard time getting above 529. So, and we had a hard time getting below it as well when we saw that sell-off. So that is something to pay attention to. So 529 can be a important level as well. So me personally, I wouldn't get really bearish. I wouldn't say really bearish, but somewhat bearish until we get below 529 just to be safe. All right. And that's what I have for the SPY. IWM, which is the Russell, in case you don't know. So we zoom out, and right now in the Discord, we are in 195 calls on IWM. Let me get rid of that. But yeah, so IWM calls, I mean not calls, puts. We're in IWM puts for, I believe, June 21st. We're in 195 puts, and so far they're in profit. As you guys can see here, I think we're trying to form somewhat of an inverse head and shoulders. And right now, IWM has a gap at around 200. Did it get filled? At around 199.8. So no, it didn't get completely filled yet. But it looks like we're trying to fill this gap on IWM or the Russell, whatever you want to call it, before we see a move higher. So I do think IWM is going to visit 198. Lowest I'm looking at is about 195 before small caps and all that fun stuff starts to take off. IWM has been really lackluster. And that's another reason why I think the market is going to see some type of pullback, at least this week, because IWM is not going to drop hard until the market drops. Like, it's dropping, but it's really like consolidating to the downside. It's not dropping really crazy unless we get news, right? If we get like bad news, we got like news this past week, and then that's when IWM dropped from like 203 to 201. It like gapped all down, and it won't keep going unless the market like follows along with it. Okay, so if the market's bullish, then IWM is just going to have a hard time dropping, and so far this thing just continues to show that it wants to continue dropping. Another thing is that IWM has a bull flag forming. Okay, very nice bull flag forming. So right now we're at the bottom of the bull flag, so we could see some upside in the morning towards that 204.5. 204.5 is your key level as far as the IWM. But as far as anything else, I think IWM is just going to continue to play games until the market is ready to drop and until we get news as well. So I will look for a move back towards 204.5. We hit here, then we break further down on the IWM. I imagine at this point news is going to step in, and then once we hit here at around 198, lowest again, I think we can go as 195. I honestly think we can go lower than lower than 198. Then we potentially see maybe this inverse head and shoulders play out, and then we go higher on the IWM or the Russell, whatever you want to call it, right? And that's all I have for the IWM. As far as upside goes, 210 was your previous highs. You could say well, actually it was 212. 212 was your previous high, so you just want to see us break above that, plain and simple. Until it breaks above that, I necessarily wouldn't be super optimistic about the IWM. Simple as that. Let's get into our stocks. So first stock is Amazon. So as you guys know, or if you're new to the channel, we are still in our 200 calls for Amazon for June 21st. Right now they're in profit. We got in at around 174. Really good entry here. We got in right where this guy is. There's these two guys is. So very good entry. Amazon has a bearish engulfing candle, and I've already been prepared for this potential move here, where we potentially see a move back down to about 180 before Amazon goes higher. So everything I'm saying is pretty much supporting the idea that we could be having a potential sell-off soon. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow. If anything, Amazon may just hit 180 tomorrow. Like I said, we can open up bearish, right? If anything, Amazon can just follow the market back to 180, but I think from that point on, it'll just bounce from there. And then maybe the lowest we're looking at is about 178. I don't think it's going to go any much lower. Okay, simple as that. So we're still in calls on Amazon. I still like Amazon. I still think Amazon is going to hit 200, if not higher. And that's about it as far as Amazon. So again, the move that I'm looking at for Amazon, if we do start seeing some downside tomorrow morning, is a move back down to 180, and then we start to head higher. Maybe we form some type of double top or whatever the case may be, potential double top, 185, and then we do it all over again when the market potentially has some type of sell-off. Okay, that's what I'm looking at as far as Amazon. Microsoft still looks absolutely amazing to me. I really don't have anything bad to say about Microsoft. What I will say is that the lowest we can go, if we do get some type of sell-off, right now I'm looking at about 518. Lowest we're looking at, not 518, 418. Lowest I'm looking at is about 416, 415 psych level before we see a move higher on Microsoft. So overall, still bullish on Microsoft. We're in 600 calls for December 20th, so we got plenty of time on the play. We're in profit, but it's nothing too crazy. It's like, I don't even know the percentage. But regardless, it's nothing too crazy. It's nothing to really brag about. But yeah, 600 calls for Microsoft all the way to December. Really like that play. Really like those calls. Microsoft is still strong in my opinion. Again, if we do get some type of sell-off, you want to pay attention to 420. After that, you're looking at a move towards 418 and then 416, 415 range. As far as upside goes, Microsoft just needs to get above 435. Simple as that. All right. CRM. So someone recommended CRM, or for me to go over CRM. We go to our daily time frame. CRM has a lot of gaps. Okay, I will say that much. CRM does have a lot of gaps. And again, CRM supports the idea that we could see some type of downside heading into tomorrow. As you guys can see, we're pretty much rejecting this trend here, and I didn't actually like circle it, but you can see here we rejected here, or we bounced here. We bounced here, so that shows that is a very significant trend. And not only that, we look closer, we are currently rejecting this trend now. Okay, so something to pay attention to. I do think CRM, a good buying opportunity for CRM, in my opinion. Where is it? Yeah, a good buying opportunity for CRM is around 205. I don't know if it's gonna go that low though. I really don't. I honestly don't. I can't see it going that low. Does it? Oh, when does it have earnings? Oh yeah, that's way off. All right, so yeah, I don't think it's going to go that low. So I would say 230 will be your first target. So pay attention to how it reacts to 230. But all these gaps to the upside, I mean, there is a lot. Okay, so I'm actually going to pay attention to CRM because I might want to trade this, and yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But right now, I don't think it's ready to fill those gaps just yet. So I wouldn't jump the gun just yet. Okay, not yet. Okay, if it can get above 250, then we can talk. Okay, start packing your bags. We're going to the moon. Okay, but right now, I don't think it's safe to play CRM. Apple, or play it to the upside at least. Apple. So I went over this in the Discord, or at least I showed this in the Discord. Apple looks scary. Okay, I told you guys the most safe opportunity you can get on Apple is a break above 200. If it breaks above 200, pack your bags. We're about to go crazy. Okay, let me actually rephrase that. If it gets above 200 and hold, okay, because a lot of people mistake like once it breaks a number, then immediately jump in. It needs to hold. Me personally, I like to look at the 2 hour for a break and hold. So I want to see a 2 hour candle close above 200, and then I will potentially look for a trade on Apple. But right now, as you guys can see, we have a rising wedge on Apple. So if anything, it does go up, and it has been moving inverse of the market. I imagine it may get stopped out at around 198 before we see that move down. Okay, 198, 199. Okay, before we see that move down, and yeah, so really pay attention to this. If it breaks back below 195, then yeah, I don't think Apple is safe anymore, and I think it can start heading back towards 190, 188 range. Okay, at some point in time, I do think it may head back down here, and me personally, I think this is a beautiful buying opportunity. Okay, for Apple, I do. I really do. I think this will be a beautiful buying opportunity at around 190, 188 range for Apple. That's just me. Do what you want with that information. AMC. I'm still bullish on AMC. All right. I'm not a ape or whatever you want to call it. I just stumbled across AMC chart and I was like, oh, I like this. Okay, simple as that. So what I will say is AMC still looks fine to me. It doesn't look bad at all. Right now we are at this trend here. We bounced here, and this right here, if you guys notice, we bounced and pretty much squeezed to the upside. Here we bounced as well off this trend, and look what happened. We got a decent amount of upside. We went from like what 430 all the way to like close to $6 here. So this trend is very significant. Every time we hit this trend, guys, we immediately like bounce up, and it's a decent move. Okay, so if we can get a repeat of what happened here, if we hit this trend again at around, I would say what is this, 470. The lowest we could potentially go is maybe this gap fill at around 4.4. But if we can hit this trend again, I do think there's potential for a squeeze back to the upside. All right, so mark this on your chart. Mark this trend on your chart, because as you guys can see here, when we bounced off of it, we squeezed here. We had a decent move here, and it looks like we could potentially do it again. Okay, so I would pay attention to that. It's also important to note that I don't think AMC is going to squeeze to the upside until IWM is done making the move to the downside. I could be wrong. I don't think it's going to happen until that happens. So three things can happen here. We either, let me remove this. So three things can happen here, right? We either consolidate until the market or whatever happens, maybe GameStop earnings motivates this move, I don't know, or we kind of tease the downside where we head towards 4.4 and then immediately wick back up to the upside, or we just simply just bounce off this trend and squeeze to the upside. All right. My price target on AMC was originally $7. We got really close. It was like 6.9, or my short-term target was $7. We got really close. I'm still in my 5.5 calls for July 12th. So is the Discord. We hit 6.9, so pretty close to my target of $7. Unfortunately, it happened pre-market, so we didn't really get the benefit off of it unless you were in shares. I'm not in any AMC shares. I don't care to be. But as far as upside goes, $10 is my next target. After that, $12. If AMC breaks above $12, guys, pack your bags. Okay, we're going to the moon. Okay, $12. 14. After that, you're looking at $14. Highest I'm looking at AMC potentially can go is about $42, give or take. All right. I do think AMC is going to take off this week, late this week, I would say. Potentially next week. I mean, the week after this week, I guess. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at as far as AMC. If you are new to the video or new to the channel, I should say, I went over this multiple times. That looks crazy. But let's remove this. Right here, we have an inverted hammer pattern. This is a reversal pattern, a bullish reversal pattern. So you got to give it time. You got to give AMC time before it takes off. And at some point in time, it is going to head towards a fair value gap at around this area, okay, at around $10. Minimum I'm looking at is about $10 right now. It gets above $7, it's heading towards $10 easy, in my opinion. All right, that's what I have for AMC. Last but not least, GameStop. So, me personally, if GameStop drops, and I'm not interested in trading GameStop, I'm already in AMC. I'm not having a ton of meme stocks in my portfolio. But what I will tell you guys, and this also has an inverted hammer pattern, that's crazy. But if GameStop revisits $20, okay, $20 between $18 and $20. If GameStop gets back down here, what is going on? But if GameStop gets back down to about, I would say $20 to $18, like flat, I think that's a beautiful buying opportunity. Even now, it's a decent buying opportunity. Right now, it's at this trend here, and you notice the pattern, right? AMC is at the exact same trend, really close to it. So, And another thing I want you guys to pay attention to is last time meme stock squeezed to the upside, the market was dropping. So I don't think the market is going to rally along with meme stocks. So that is something to note. We saw a rotation into meme stocks when the last time they squeezed, and the market was pretty much dropping at that point. So it is important to note that I don't think we're going to see the same thing happen. I think we're going to see the same thing happen, where meme stocks squeeze to the upside, and then the market drops to the downside. Now, how big of a drop, I don't know. I guess it depends on the squeeze. But right now, my price target for GameStop is about $60. Can it go higher? Absolutely. There was a significant, I guess there's significance around 120. Didn't GameStop hit like $120 before? Pretty sure it did. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so apparently there's like a whole bunch of volume at around $120 contracts. So it can head back up here. Okay, it can. All right. That's possible. So yeah, that's all I have for this video. It was a pretty long one, guys, but otherwise, as far as tomorrow, we could see some downside in the morning, maybe bounce, but right now everything is pretty much pointing to the downside as far as the market. As far as meme stocks go, they seem to be wanting to point to the upside, so that could support my idea, or not idea, but historical fact that last time meme stocks squeezed to the upside, the market dropped. So something to pay attention to heading into tomorrow. Other than that, that's all I have. Discord link is in the description below. Until the next video, traders, have a good one.